Have you ever felt as though you were drowning? Not in a literal sea, but in the overwhelming waves of life. You cry out, "Lord, the water has engulfed me." You feel the cold grip of despair as the tides of trouble rise higher. Yet, even in the midst of the storm, God is with you. He sees you. He hears your cry, and His arm is mighty to save. The Word says in Psalm chapter 69 verse 1, "Save me, O God, for the waters have come up to my neck." Can you feel the desperation in David's voice? Have you ever been there? David, the mighty king, the man after God's own heart, found himself overwhelmed. If even he could feel like the waters were closing in, it means that God's children, no matter how strong their faith, may face moments of weakness. But those moments, my dear listener, are not the end of the story. They are the beginning of a testimony that declares, "My God is able." Think about the Israelites at the edge of the Red Sea. Behind them, Pharaoh's army thundered toward them with vengeance, and before them, an impassable sea stretched wide. Can you hear their panic? Can you imagine the mothers clutching their children, the fathers trying to shield their families, all the while thinking, "This is the end"? But Moses, that fearless man of God, spoke words that changed history. He said, in Exodus chapter 14 verse 13, "Do not be afraid. Stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord, which He will accomplish for you today." Let me pause here to ask you something. Are you standing still in your storm? Or are you thrashing about, trying to fight in your own strength? God says, "Be still and know that I am God." Standing still does not mean doing nothing. It means standing firm in your faith, rooted in the promise that God is in control. I recall a time when I felt like I was drowning. It was not water, it was debt. Bills were piling up faster than my prayers seemed to rise. I would preach on Sunday, but by Monday, I was questioning if I truly believed the words I spoke. One night, I cried out, "Lord, the water has engulfed me. I cannot do this anymore." Do you know what happened next? I heard the Spirit whisper, "You are right. You cannot, but I can." Oh, how that truth set me free. That very week, I received an unexpected blessing. Someone in the congregation handed me an envelope, and inside was exactly the amount I needed. You see, our God is not limited by our circumstances. He owns the cattle on 1,000 hills, and He delights in providing for His children. Now let us talk about Peter. You know the story. Peter, bold and impulsive, stepped out of the boat to walk on water with Jesus. He started strong, focused on the Lord, but the moment he noticed the wind and the waves, fear took over, and he began to sink. He cried out, "Lord, save me." Jesus did not hesitate. The Word says He immediately reached out His hand and caught him. Did you catch that? Immediately. Not after Peter flailed about or sank halfway. Immediately. That is the God we serve, a God who saves without delay when we call on Him. What are the waves in your life today? Is it fear? Is it sickness? Is it broken relationships? The enemy wants you to believe that you are alone, that no one cares, and that the water will surely take you under. But I declare to you today, you shall not drown. Isaiah chapter 43 verse 2 promises, "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow you." Did you hear that? God did not say you would avoid the water. He said you would pass through it. And not only will you pass through, but He will be with you every step of the way. When Jesus met the Samaritan woman at the well, He offered her living water. He said in John chapter 4 verse 14, "Whoever drinks of the water that I shall give him will never thirst. But the water that I shall give him will become in him a fountain of water springing up into everlasting life." What is this living water? It is the Spirit of God, dwelling within us, giving us strength and peace in the face of life's storms. Let me ask you, are you holding on to fear today? Fear is a thief. It steals your joy, your peace, and your faith. But the Word says in 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7, "God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." You do not have to be a prisoner of fear. Speak to it in the name of Jesus. Tell that fear it has no place in your life, and declare the promises of God over yourself. One of the most powerful images in the Bible is Jesus calming the storm. The disciples, experienced fishermen, were terrified as their boat was tossed about on the sea. They woke Jesus, crying, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" And Jesus, with all the authority of heaven, spoke 3 simple words, "Peace, be still." The wind and the waves obeyed Him. My friend, that same Jesus speaks peace over your storm today. I want to leave you with this thought: the water may rise, but it will not drown you. The flames may burn, but they will not consume you. Whatever you are facing, God is greater. His love is deeper than any ocean, His power stronger than any storm, and His grace more abundant than the rain that falls. If this message has touched your heart, I encourage you to share it. Subscribe for more uplifting words, like this message to show you stand in faith, and leave a comment to share how God is moving in your life. Let us spread this word to every corner of the earth, declaring that our God is mighty to save. And may you go forth today with the confidence that no matter how high the water rises, your God is with you, and He will never let you go.